What is going on, guys? This is Comic Blaze, and today I'm bringing a very special video, and this is something I just went ahead and decided to do. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know how to do this and would need some help doing it, and today I'm showing you how to make a YouTube thumbnail. Now, of course, thumbnails for YouTube are very vital. They catch viewers' attention. You need to make them look good, give them, nice bright colors and stuff like that. Just attract the attention of the viewer, and if you don't know how to make them, then it's very difficult, and you don't want to just make some very plain, boring thumbnail. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a thumbnail for pretty much beginners. How to make a very nice thumbnail for beginners. So what you want to do is when you're in Photoshop, this tutorial is for Photoshop, by the way. I'm not going to be showing you how to make one like, say, Paint or something like that. This is solely for Photoshop. So first thing you're going to do is you want to go up to here to File, up at the top left, and you want to click on New, and that is going to bring up this. And for the purposes of this, you just go ahead and make a preset and make it 1280 by 720. There is no reason to make it 1920 by 1080 because the YouTube thumbnail size is actually 1280 by 720. And if you don't believe me, well, here you go. It's straight from the support Google support website itself. Yes, the size is 1280 by 720. If you make it 1920 by 1080, you're just making it bigger than it needs to be, and YouTube's just going to compress it anyways. So just going ahead and make it 1280 by 720. And going ahead and make sure all of these are the same as I have it. And background contents, you can have this on. Actually, no. For the purposes of this, make it white. If you're gonna use the image you find online as your background, you can make it transparent, it really doesn't matter. But for what we're gonna be doing here, make it white. Alright. And also, when you go ahead and make it 1280 by 720, just go ahead and click Save Preset, and then say the preset name, and then whenever you come back here, you can just click on here. Your presets will be saved here, and you can just click on it and click OK. You don't need to give it a title or anything unless you really want to. So now you'll be stuck on the screen. So unless you're using a background image that you found online, which I'm not really showing you how to do that. If you want to do that, all you have to do is just click open and then open up the image, and then boom, you're good. But for this, as you can see, all we have is a white canvas. So first thing you want to do is, you don't have to do this, but I do it anyways. Just double click on the layer over here. This is where your layers are showed. By the end of this, you're going to have multiple layers, and then just go ahead and click OK. You can name the layer if you want, but I don't really see a need to because I'm not organized. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is create a background, and since I'm going to need a thumbnail for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and make the thumbnail for this video, for this tutorial video. So what I like to do is go ahead and go over here and find the gradient tool. If it's not here, just go to the same slot and right click, and you might have one of these selected. Just go ahead and click on gradient tool. All of these, by the way, have different things. So if something doesn't show up that I click on, just right click it, and chances are it's going to be there. So yep, go ahead and click on gradient tool. And what you're going to want to do is come up here to this little color combination. And this is where you're going to make your gradient for the background. So as you can see, I've made a lot of gradients over the time. A lot of these I just go ahead and use. I don't make a new gradient every single time I make a video. I just go ahead and click on one of them. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and make a new one. And I think I'm going to make it yellow. For this, you want to kind of be creative, kind of imagine in your mind what you want it to look like. For this, I'm going to make it yellow and see if that might look good. And also, you're not restricted to 3 things. In fact, when you first make one, I believe you only have 2. You can actually click and you can put as many of them down as you want, and to get rid of them, just hover over them. Click them and then just click delete on your keyboard, and they'll go away. So I'm going to go ahead and make this yellow. So I'm going to start with sort of a brightish yellow there. And then put that one there. Actually, let's do this. If you, it does that sometimes. I don't know why. Let's go ahead We'll get that yellow, and then come down here to this code. This is the color code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to paste it in here, so I have an exact spot where that color is. And then I'm going to make it just a bit lighter. Let's say about there. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to paste that code in. I'm going to make this sort of a darker kind of look. Alright, let's see how that looks. So once you get your gradient done, all you want to do is click down and just drag. You can drag anywhere. As you can see, if I drag here, it'll look like that. But if I say go up here and drag just straight down, it'll look like that. There are multiple ways you can do this, and there are multiple. There's a lot of different ways you can make the gradients. As you can see, I have more kind of complex ones here. I wouldn't say complex. As you can see, yeah, it's not complex at all actually. It just goes from dark blue to light blue to dark blue again. That's what that looks like. This one is just very. Oh, I forgot to click new preset. Hold on, I'll get that back here. Okay, I got it back. It is a little bit different, but that's okay. So we got the preset here, and now what you want to do is you want to hit save. Or not save, new. And what that does is it creates a new preset here, so every time you want to get back to it, you can just click on that, and you'll open up the preset. So again, let's go ahead and click and drag, and now we have the background for our thumbnail, and it's not just a solid color. As you can see, it gets darker, it's light here, and it's not just a plain boring, just simple color. Alright, next thing we're going to want to do is add our text. And this generally you're going to want to make the text what you want what the name of the video is. And if you want different fonts that you don't have, you can go to this website here. It's called The Font. I'll go ahead and put this link in the description. And there are a lot of fonts you can choose from to download here. I'll show you right now how to install one. Alright, so I went ahead and found this font here. As you can see, I just went up here and I clicked on Comic. And all you have to do, this is very easy. You don't even have to close Photoshop in order for it to install. Just download it, click OK. You will need a WinRAR for this. And then all you have to do is, looks like there's two here, so I'm going to go ahead and install both. Just double click on it and open it. Then just click install. We do the same thing on this one. Double click, open it, install. And now those are installed on Photoshop. And again, you don't need to restart Photoshop for it to be there. It just automatically be there. At least it always has been for me. So now if we go here, let's see if we can quickly find it. Here it is right here. So it looks like I have a hollow version and a solid version. I'm going to go ahead and use the solid version. And the font is obviously way too large. To change the size of the font, you go up here where this number is, and I'm just going to go ahead and make that 2. Alright, it's still pretty big, but we can change it in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and name this how to make YouTube thumbnails. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. This is obviously still way too large, so we're just gonna make that 1. Let's do too big. Let's try 0.5. No, 0.5. There we go. Alright, so now we have our text. And I can say right now that I do not like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you another trick. As you can see, these are kind of interlapping here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back here on the text thing, and I'm just going to delete this lower line. And let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then we're going to create a new text, and we'll make it that. Okay, and now what we can do is we can move this where we want it, this is a bit larger, so if it is a bit larger than you want it to be and you don't want to change the font size anymore, hit Control T. And this will bring up this menu. What you want to do is find this corner here and hold Shift. When you hold Shift, it will scale it so it doesn't do like this, where you know, just becomes a mess. So, and by the way, since I did that, hit Control Z, and it'll take it back to the last thing you did. But it only works on Photoshop. For some reason, it only works for one thing. I'm not sure why. And by one thing, I mean like one error. It's weird. But again, hold Shift and then click, and as you can see, it scales it. So it's still the same font. No, sorry, it's still the same font size. So now it's a bit smaller. And I'll put it right about there. Alright, and then click the check mark up here once you're done. And as you can see, now those aren't overlapping or anything. And go over to the layers and hit hold Shift and click on this one and this one. And then hit Control E. And what that did is it merged the layers. So now they're in one layer and I can move them. And actually, I just noticed that U is actually all capitalized here. So what I did is I hit Control Alt and Z, and what that did is here. I'm gonna have to cut there because I stuttered. So let me just go ahead and go back here. So as you can see, I moved it around, and like I said, if you hit Control Z multiple times, it doesn't actually fix it. But I forgot that if you Control Alt and Z, you can actually go back multiple times. See? So anyways, let's go ahead and change that, because that just doesn't look right to me. There we go. I'll go ahead and shrink this back down. Okay, check, and then again Shift, click, Control E, and now they are merged together. And don't do that for some reason. If you have this selected and you click and you try to move it, it'll just create a new thing. If that happens, no worries, just go over to the layer, right click, and then delete it. And now we can move this freely on its own. If you even want, you can kind of angle it a little bit so it's not boring. Alright. Now, go over to the layer that has your text. As you can see, it is this layer here, and double click it. And that brings up this, the layer style. And this all comes down to creativity really, and just messing around with it. There are a lot of things you can do. I can't go over everything in this, but what I always do is I always click on stroke, because stroke just makes it pop out more because you put the black lines around it. And I also like to hit bevel and emboss. I think that's how you say it. If it's not, I'm sorry. And then gradient overlay. Again, you can create your own gradient for this, like you did for this gradient over here. Just mess with that all you want, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go ahead and click on, let's go with that gradient. And then we'll say that's good there. And again, there's so many things you can do here. Just play around with it. Let's go ahead and give it an inner shadow. Make the size maybe just a bit bigger. And we'll give it a drop shadow as well. As you can see, you can change the angle in which the shadows are coming at. Again, like seriously, you just have to mess around with all of this. Figure out what you like, what styles you like. Even give it an outer glow. Change the size of the outer glow so it comes out a bit more. Look at that. Maybe that isn't the best gradient overlay, because as you can see, it's going on yellow there. So easy to change. We'll just go here and let's make it this red. I think that looks nice. Alright. Ooh, actually, I just thought about this. Let's go to texture and put a texture on it. That texture looks good, and let's change the depth so it's not so in your face. There we go. Now it has sort of a texture to it. Look at that. So it's not really so boring anymore. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I will put links in the description to these. These are Photoshop packs that you can download and use. I will put a link in the description to at least one of these. I'm not sure if I can be able to find the link to this one, but both of these pretty much have the same stuff in them. In fact, I'm pretty sure this even has more. But let's go ahead and I'll open this one up. And this is a Photoshop pack, and this has a lot of stuff in it. What I like to do to give it sort of a background, again, this is just where creativity comes into play. Let's not do that. To make things show up and disappear, just click on this little icon over here on the eye. As you can see, now it's showing up and now it's gone. I don't think I like any of these. That'd be nice. But let's get rid of these and let's colored lights. Yeah, let's take this. No, let's take this blue one. So I'm gonna take this. When you want to drag it, you want to click on the actual layer that you're trying to take. Make sure you have this courser selected and just click and drag it up to this tab here, and then you can drag down back, unclick, and then paste. In fact, you could just use this as a whole background if you really want to, but I don't want to do that. And now, as you can see, this layer covered up everything. It covered up our text, and we don't want that, obviously. So, what you want to do is you want to come to here, click on this, and drag down. And it will bring it under that, so as you can see, now we can see our text again. Now, because I want to be able to see this background here, I'm going to double click on this, and that brings up the layer style menu again. And I'm going to go here to opacity. I'm just going to click that. And you can mess with this as much as you want, and as you can see, yeah, it just changes how much it's there and how much it's not. I'm going to put it about there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to stocks, and I'm going to steal this stock right here. Again, click on the layer, click, drag, paste it in. Move it to where you want it to be. I'll put it about there. Double click. Change the opacity. And now we have a background there. In fact, I actually don't like this. So if you don't like something, it's easy. Just right click, delete, and now it's gone. And as you can see, now we have sort of a coolish background there. It's not just a plain it's not just, you know, plain solid color. It's not boring anymore, and now we have this. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the packs here. And now, because I'm making a video on how to make YouTube thumbnails, let's go ahead and get a YouTube icon here. There it is. So again, click on the layer you want to take, drag it up to the tab, and drop it. To scale it, hit Control T. There you go. Now I'm going to put this here so it's above everything, and that is blurry. So if you have an image that is blurry, tough luck, you can't really do anything about that. But what you can do, just go on Google and find something. So let's see here. You want to make sure it's the right size. Actually, I'm going to find something that has a white background. so I can show you guys how to get rid of that. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save image as, and sure, that name's good. Now I'm going to go back up here, go to File, Open. I'm going to open this. So whenever you have a white backgrounds are very easy to delete. Just double click on this again so the lock goes away. It actually won't let me do it for this image. That is very rare, but that does happen on occasion. So let's take this one instead. That is very rare. That really doesn't happen that often. In fact, that hasn't happened to me in such a long time. So again, we're just going ahead, File, Open. We'll open the image we just saved. Really? Huh. Hold on, guys. That's quite strange. This one? There we go. That was very weird. Maybe it's because those pictures were coming from the company website itself. I'm not sure. But once you do that, you're going to want to click on New Layer. Once you get rid of the lock, click on New Layer and just drag the layer under it. And then go over here and find this tool right here. This is your magic wand. Right click that. Make sure you have the magic wand selected. You also have the quick selection tool. Click that and click on the image. Make sure you have the layer selected. Click on the image, and as you can see, it created this outline around the whole thing, and then just hit delete. Now the white background is gone. So now all you have to do is just drag, paste it in, and as you can see, that's a lot better. So we're going to head and delete this. Oh, we don't want that. We want this. T. Okay, Control T again brings up this. So if you want to scale it, Control T. And we'll scale it down by holding Shift. We're going to head and put that here. Alright, and if you double click on this, you can even mess with lifestyles in this. So you can click on that. You know, again, just mess around with this all you want. Be creative. I think that's good for me. And as you can see, now we have this. Alright, what I like to do, now that I have everything done here, is I like to go down here and click on Create New Layer. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it under everything except for these. In fact, because I'm done with these, you can go ahead and click Shift and click on these two things here, and hit Control E, and now those are merged together. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and name this layer light. And you'll see why here in a second. And if, by the way, if you don't know how to name a layer, just click it and then click it again. Like, just kind of give it a double click, but not so fast. You know, obviously if you click too fast to bring up this. Okay, so now that I have this layer, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on these two color panels here. And because I named it light, I'm going to make this whole thing white. And this is just kind of give the thumbnail a bit more of a glow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the brush tool. Again, if this isn't here, right click and click on the brush tool. And if you want to change the size of this, go up here. And then you can change the size here. So as you can see, if I make it 800, it's going to be massive. Make it 100, it's going to be really small. I'm sure you get the point. Anyways, I'm going to paint white here. And then I'm going to double click on the layer. I'm going to go to opacity. I'm going to bring it down to about here. So as you can see, if I get rid of it, now it has more of a light tint to it around the YouTube logo. I'm going to do the same thing, but instead I'm going to name this shadow. And instead I'm going to make it black. And I'm going to put the small shadow down here. And then again, double click, opacity, put this to about 22, and now as you can see it has a shadow to it. Alright, so now that you have your thumbnail done, I'm going to go ahead and say this is done. What you want to do is go up to File, Save As, and I'm just gonna make this how to make thumbnail. And actually, before you do that, make sure you have no typos. Everything looks good to me. Okay, so I have a folder for thumbnails, and so once you name it, click on this down thing here. You go down to JPEG. Now, YouTube has a rule where you can't have a file bigger than 2 megabytes. So make sure it's not bigger than 2 megabytes when you try to save it. So if I click save, as you can see, it is way bigger than 2 megabytes. I don't know why, but whenever I use this pack, the file sizes are just massive. It's only when I use this pack too, it's weird. So if you have this, it's actually very simple to fix it. Just go ahead and click cancel. Again, go to save as. Let's name this again. And then go and save it as a PNG instead. I don't know why, but PNG is just a lot smaller. And there you go. And also, if you want to be extra safe, you can even save it as a Photoshop file. So you can open it up if you accidentally mess up something, you have a typo or something that you missed. So if I save that there, just click OK. I can go back to open, and then I can open up the file again. And you can edit it from where you saved it from. Anyways, that is how to make a YouTube thumbnail for pretty much beginners. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. I am by no means a Photoshop expert, but I just hope you found this helpful in some way. And yeah, making thumbnails is obviously very important to making YouTube videos to catch the people's attention, and I hope I was able to help you. If you enjoyed, make sure to like it. If you didn't, if you thought this tutorial was very vague, leave a dislike. I really want to know if I did a good job here so I can improve in the future. And thank you so much for watching. As always, have a nice day.